how did TikTok become your preferred choice of channel?
Yeah, so it happened during the pandemic. My background is in personal brand photography. So I had a business where I was creating content, helping entrepreneurs and business owners create content. And of course, in March of 2020, everything changed. And just before that, I had a friend who was an Instagram coach who mentioned, you should get on TikTok. I think you would like it. It's a lot of fun. It's a really creative place. There's not a lot of people over there. It's not saturated, and just go explore it. So I did, and I did love it. I loved the culture and the creativity, and I loved that it wasn't about being perfect. Like it didn't have that curated Instagram vibe. And so yeah, I just started creating content, and I was having some success over there, and I was getting a lot of questions about my success, and it just was like light bulb moment. I was like, okay, well, I could help business owners use TikTok as another social media marketing tool because at the end of the day, you can use it like that, just like all the other social media apps.
Right. So, and currently today, 7.5 million likes, 300 over 360,000 followers, and you're talking about so queen of trend alerts, if you want to go on and find Wave here, there on TikTok. So, talking about these trends and companies positioning with TikTok, I mean, can you give us the spiel? I mean, how do you as a company, let's say I'm a button down CEO, like what do I do on TikTok?
If you're a button down CEO, it depends. First, you have to decide, like, are you going to be the face of your account or the face of the brand, or are you going to have a dedicated social media marketing person do that? So if you look at the big brands, they have like the really big ones, obviously Duolingo, that they have the mascot and a social media manager who runs that account. So that's the first step. If you're a small business, it's most likely you're going to be the face of the brand. So, I mean, that's the first decision is figuring out who's going to manage this account and run it, and who's going to show up as the face that people connect with on the account.
Mm, very good point. Yeah. So, and do you believe that what will work the best? I mean, in some cases, again, because I'm not sure. Again, we're trying to do better on TikTok too, as I was talking in a beginning as well. Um, so, is it best with people? I mean, if for B2B purposes, right, or B2C, maybe you're depends what product you're selling. Should a CEO, a button down CEO, should be in t-shirt and be more laid back and be in front of the brand, and that would work more, or should be a marketing somebody from a marketing department? I mean, how would you help to navigate
It's
somebody that decision?
again, it's a bit of a hard question to ask. I think it's going to differ, depending on the brand and what they value and what they're selling, and who they want to connect with and what their goals are for posting on TikTok. Is it brand awareness, or are you trying to generate leads or sell a product or a service? Like it's going to depend on quite a few factors. But I will say that authenticity is key on TikTok.
Mm,
Uh, and we could talk about this a little bit more and why I kind of think AI content doesn't perform as well there.
yeah.
But it's because it's a personality-based app. People do look at it as an entertainment platform. People want to connect with people, and a lot of the content you're going to see is shot in the moment, and it is someone expressing an opinion or thought or sharing something. So authenticity is so important to connect with people. It is not the same as that Instagram curated, everything looks beautiful, perfect, happy vibe. People don't want that on TikTok. So, you have to think about that, consider that for your business or your brand. How can you show up authentically?
Mm. It's interesting because let me give you some perspective. So let's say if we're talking about LinkedIn, because in some cases, companies, people, they're just reusing most of the time. They're not creating separate content just for TikTok because you have to be more
Mm-hmm.
authentic. Maybe you have to be buttoned down on LinkedIn, but suddenly on TikTok you have to change and you have to maybe put the shirt on and just be more casual about it, right? And be more authentic and connect with people that way. So
Yeah.
how can companies approach that? I mean, in general, as their marketing message, I mean, should they be more laid back? I mean, looking at the TikTok and maybe because TikTok is actually is influencing the other media channels as well, right? The way content is being perceived. Because when TikTok came out, Instagram haven't had reels before. And those reels were
Hmm.
introduced because of the TikTok, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, I'm not a LinkedIn expert, but I have heard that as more Gen Z join the platform, it's becoming sort of less professional in that vibe. And the content, the type of content that's shared there. But you know, here's a big problem that a lot of people have, and I think that you're kind of alluding to is that repurposing of content. A lot of these platforms, they have a different culture. The TikTok culture is very different than Instagram Reels, very different from LinkedIn, Facebook, all those things. And the culture depends on a lot of things like the audience demographics, the algorithms,
Mm-hmm.
and what those platforms value. So it can be really difficult for people. Some people, you know, can make content for one platform and repurpose it everywhere. Sure, great if you want to do that. However, I find for a lot of people, it doesn't work. Like I see, you know, businesses and brands making content primarily for Instagram, and then they're using AI programs or you know, chopping up their podcast and they're just throwing it up on TikTok, but it doesn't work. Like those videos are not performing
And is there any
because it
reason?
just,
Is there any reason why they're
you know, again, it's a lot of it is the culture and the trends, but also, you know, people have short attention spans. You have
right?
to success on TikTok. You've got to have a really, really strong hook, right? It is all about the hook. The hook is that number one way to get more views on your video is you got to get people to stop scrolling and actually start watching the video. So that, you know, that's there, and then there's a little bit of a format and there's different styles of videos that on TikTok that kind of play into the culture
Yeah.
too. So if you're not participating in that kind of culture, then it doesn't come across as authentic.
But also, but that was my follow-up question. If we participate in what's happening, I mean, is that how does it mean that we're staying authentic if we're just following what other people are doing and we're just trying to hop on a viral trend?
Well, the thing about the trends is the whole point of the trend is that you are going to make it your own. You're not just copying what other people are
Right.
doing. That's not interesting to watch for a business owner or a brand. I don't recommend it. There's a lot of different types of trends on TikTok. So the ones where you are just repeating what everyone else is doing, I call those challenge trends, and they're generally not what I would advise for a business for a brand. So you want to do these trends where you get creative and put your own spin on it. So you're participating in that culture of TikTok, but you're making it your own and it's entertaining to watch.
I see. And how can a company pick between those trends? I mean, is there a place where you can find all these trends and just to sort through them and say, okay, well, these would be relevant to my company. I can put my own spin on.
You can find trends by scrolling on the For You page, and that's where you're going to get a little bit sense of the culture and kind of what's trending. And there's lots of other ways to do it. And like I said, I make it easy by offering a service, and I do announce some of the trends on my TikTok account as well. And that's how I built my own account and built a persona and a brand of being the queen of trend alerts, because I saw this back in 2020 that there was a lot of opportunity and people really resonate, right? Because essentially what I'm doing is giving people content ideas. So when I started posting what these trend alerts, like what was trending, then, you know, that's where I was growing more followers and those videos were performing really well. And people started calling me queen. So I decided to build a brand around that.
That's awesome.
And
That's
that's also really important on TikTok is finding a way to stand out so that people remember you.
yeah. In any brand, right? Because if you just
Hmm.
become just another brand, which is like, okay, I've seen like 10 companies who do exactly that, and you just feel like the other 10 companies, which by the way, I don't even like, which is very easy to get lost in the noise because there's so much happening, right? You talked about AI and companies are
Exactly.
they're producing so much content. Like you can use some of those AI tools and you can generate 30, 40 pieces of content like in minutes and can
Yes. Yeah.
automatize that, and it could be like automated like and schedule posted and all of it, right? And you're gonna competing with that. with a lot of noise.
Yeah.
You have to stand out and invest the time, and like, how do you do that?
Yeah. And, I think that's what's going to happen is, it is, a lot of that AI generated content is contributing to the noise, and
Mm,
people are going to start looking for higher quality content that's more authentic and that builds trust and connection.
yeah. And do you think that's gonna be for some time? Because it's same as people right now. Like I'm attached to the computer for majority majority of my life. I've been attached to the computer, and throughout the day, I don't know how many hours, but
Sure.
too much, too many hours. And we cling into this, like for example, I have this wooden table here, and it's like this texture, and we want to go to, especially when the COVID started, you saw like increased number of camper vans that are being sold.
Hmm.
People just went to the woods, camping. They want to go back to the nature, right? Like when you're sitting at home and you're just like in front of the computer or phone screen, you want to go back to something. So, but do you think, because where the future is going, and it seems like we're heading into this, inevitable future, which is, who knows, right? There's like,
Hmm.
aligned with AI and the perfect future. We're working together with robots. Do you think that that's just a short, like a blink in the time scale, that people are going to be leaning towards more people, and is like, I want the human connection, and that's just a short window, maybe 10, 15 years, and the future is going to be all AI bots that we're going to see on TikTok, if it's going to be here, or any other platform, and that's what's going to be running this thought leadership for companies and people.
Well, I think, of course, yes, there's a big rise in AI influencers and
Yeah.
that sort of thing, which I think can be successful. I think when it comes to content creation, no, I'm losing my train of thought. I hope you're editing this.
No, we are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No worries.
Um, uh, okay. What I wanted to say about content creation and AI. I think it will take some time for a lot of the AI generated content to become more mainstream and acceptable. So right now, I think there is a pushback from people who online have a lot of skepticism, right? And it's getting harder and harder to build trust, and people are looking for authenticity.
Hmm.
So some of this AI generated content on TikTok may work. I have not seen a lot of it. Uh, Most of it, is a lot of more of the AI news channels that are using it. But I don't see a lot of, normal, like the regular content creators using it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's not being embraced enough yet. I mean, they're using
Yeah.
AI tools for sure. If that's enhancing video quality.
Yeah, yeah, in a way, but
Yeah,
it's not full on. Like I have an avatar. I have my
yeah,
HeyGen avatar. I love it. I've used it for certain things, like in courses, and it's saved me a lot of time. But I don't use it in my social media marketing content. Maybe once in a while as like a fun kind of thing, but it's not something I would do on a regular basis because people would be like, what is this? And what is she doing? And I don't, I think they're not connecting with me. They know it's not me, but they're
yeah.
getting better, right? These things are getting
Totally.
better and better over time. So, uh, it's I think it'll become more mainstream. What was it? I saw I don't know if it was a news article or maybe it was a TikTok or maybe it was a YouTube short on it was someone warning about a scam. And it was Jennifer Aniston, the actress, who was like talking about giving away these free MacBooks.
That's
But
deep fake.
as someone who's pretty keen, like I'm pretty keen, like pretty well versed in the AI content creation, you can tell it's fake because of the way the lips are moving, right?
Yeah,
But it can still really fool a lot of people,
yeah, yeah,
right? So people, have to be. That's where the skepticism is coming, and people are being
yeah,
have to be very careful.
yeah. That's the downside of it, because somebody will try to use this for something
Yeah,
not good
yeah,
intention behind it, right?
yeah.
I remember start seeing deepfakes, and that was some time ago. I remember seeing this Tom Cruise deepfake on YouTube. I'm
Yes,
sure I
yeah.
was like, is that Tom Cruise? Like, dude, he can, because the skin,
Yeah,
it was just like perfect.
yes.
Some of
Yeah.
the videos were just like, wow, you cannot tell the difference.
Yeah. They're getting better and better.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
scary because that could be the future that we're going to see, social media accounts of, let's say, you and me and other companies and people and their
Yeah.
just like
And
content.
what's yeah, and what's interesting right now is that TikTok has you can self-identify your content as AI generated. You can choose, a label before you post saying this is AI generated.
Right.
However, they haven't made it, there's no regulations. They haven't made it, that the algorithm is picking it up and going to label it quite yet, but I think that will come in the future.
And can you still monetize it the same way as the just normal content or?
That's a good question. I don't know anyone who's making AI generated content and in the like TikTok creativity beta program. It has to be what they consider original content. It's possible. I saw this account on TikTok the other day, which was AI generated short films, and it was really, really well done. Uh, so it's I don't know if they're monetizing from that. There's several requirements in order to monetize. You have to have a certain amount of followers. Has to be considered original content. Has to be over 1 minute in length. So I'm not 100% sure. It's a good question.
Yeah, because even these two words, the original content, like,
Hmm.
I think even those two words are going to be, it feels like, to me at least, again, I'm not an expert or claim to be one in the topic of, content and policies and all those intricacies that happening behind the scenes. But, you know, like, what is that going to look like, in the future? Probably they're going to
Hmm.
just throw the word out because there's going to be so much AI. I mean,
It's going to be hard. Yeah.
what's original?
Generally right now, original content is something that does not take other video clips. Like, you can't duets or you can't stitch videos, or you can't take, a clip from a TV show or a movie. So it
Okay.
has to be, footage that is filmed, that is
Yeah.
filmed from a camera.
Which it feels like it's not going to fall in that category because if you're creating a deep fake of yourself,
Hmm.
that's original content.
Yeah. Hmm. In a
Wow.
way, yeah. Yeah.
Scary, scary, scary. But
Yeah.
exciting as well. So let's say for the companies out there, specifically talking about algorithms, because algorithms also determine, you're going viral. Of course, a lot of it, what you're talking about exactly is is really creating content that's relevant to that different audience that is very different from other audiences. If it's, YouTube and reels on Instagram and Facebook reels and the way those algorithms work there and what type of communities they have. On TikTok, of course, you have to jump on the viral bandwagon, but as you said, you have to predetermine, you have to look from these trends and see what's most applicable the most without crossing maybe some of the ethical boundaries, because some of the viral videos they're just crazy, right? So maybe you don't want to do some of those. But let's say if I'm living in Europe, but my target audience is US, right? I'm B2B. How does the algorithm going to affect? Because I'm thinking about, US and I'm going to reach those people, but is the US people actually going to be seeing that or mostly by the algorithm because I'm located here in this location? Only the European market will be.
Yeah. Hmm. So TikTok is geo-focused, which means your videos are shown to a local audience first. So if you are in Europe, your videos are going to go to a European audience. The more views your video gets, the more engagement your videos get, then it will go to a wider geographic location. So if you look at your analytics on a viral video, you can see that it's probably reached, countries all over the world.
Yeah.
So,
But
I do want to say though that you don't have to go viral to have success on TikTok. I saw this immediately when I joined the app. And that's why, I fell in love with it because I was like, you can just use this as a social media marketing tool. Like as long as as a business, you don't necessarily want to go viral. You want to attract the right audience, your target audience, who
mm,
are going to consume your content, enjoy it, and go through the funnel and eventually become customers. So you absolutely don't have to go viral. That is a big emphasis on the app. And of course, people want
Yeah.
to go viral because of,
But it's not
dopamine hits,
enough.
it feels good, it's exciting. However, it doesn't always benefit benefit a business. Sometimes
Good
the
point.
benefits are very short-lived. I've had people, who are selling products saying, they went viral, saw a huge spike in sales, and then it crashed, right?
Mhm.
It's not stable,
It's very
and it's
hard
not
to create,
consistent.
just like
Um,
on YouTube, Wave, right? It's very hard because there's for example like Mr. Beast and like
mhm,
just crazy. I mean, each video that you can see is just like generating 100+ million views. I mean,
yeah,
the guy really cracked the algorithm right there. But there's so many YouTube content creators that are talking about that it's so hard to create content that will go viral every single time, and it's still exactly the same on
yeah, and you don't want to put that pressure on yourself. And
yeah.
if you're a business owner, and you're expecting to go viral on TikTok every single post, then you're completely wrong and you're going to be very disappointed. It's just not the way it works. If everyone was doing that, it wouldn't be possible. It wouldn't be TikTok if every single person was going viral in every single video. Some are going to, perform better than others, and it depends on a lot of factors. What we do know, and what, I always say to pay attention to, is watch time is most important. You need to get people to watch your videos as long as possible, or even, replay them. And then, the video engagement, likes, comments, shares, saves. Those are the factors that determine video performance.
Mhm. So, still on the topic of what we're talking about different countries, right? So it just feels like, let's say, if I'm again, I'm based in Europe, my target audience is US. So because those are different people from different backgrounds, different cultures, that favor different things, see or don't see.
Hmm.
So how does that? So let's say I'm still going after the US market, right? I would like to reach those people and get in front of them. How do I create content? How do I navigate that thin line of creating content that can go, reach people here enough so I can then kind of tell the same message to the people. But again, the people that are here don't like the message that I'm saying because that's the message that's acceptable in US. So how do you navigate that challenge,
I
especially?
would say, there are ways that you can work around it, which are not, which are a little bit, a gray line. But what other people might do is, if you're, in Europe and you want to reach another audience, is you can hire a content creator, to,
Ah,
create a TikTok and run or a social media manager to run your TikTok account for you,
mm,
and post the videos, whether you're creating the content or they're creating it. That's, one way that people do that. That's not, possible for everyone. So, there are people who are exploring VPNs and SIM cards and, that type of thing. But, those things are never a guarantee, and are kind of, probably against community guidelines on TikTok.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, there is definitely, you have to, be smart and, find your way around it. So there is
Mhm.
strategies. I mean, things like that you could do or consider doing, right? So let's say that becomes not an obstacle anymore, right? So now we're talking about this content creation part, right? We're finding some of the videos. I mean, just creating a schedule. I mean, how often, like what will be, we found a particular video, we're just gonna emulate that. We're gonna put our own spin. We know what our product is, how we're gonna deliver value. How often we should do that? I mean, there's specific, as we look at social media, particularly, I remember there was a time, and I don't know if people are still looking, hours to post and times and like, from 1 till 3 p.m. But I mean, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. I mean, times, how do you approach the calendar scheduling and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I teach a content first approach. So what that means is focus more on the content you're creating and less on all the strategies, because so many people come to me, they're all hung up on, what time do I post? How many
Yeah.
videos do I post? What music do I post? And I say to them, let's look at the content first, because what you're communicating through a video, the message that you're communicating and how people interact with that, how they resonate and how they engage with that, is going the number one reason for that video performance. It doesn't matter as much, uh, what time that you posted the video, that's not going to be a huge factor. And we don't even get any data on that, like, or what trending sound to use. Like, we don't get data on how much that's actually helping you, or what hashtags to use. Those are all strategies, and those are good things to consider and to use. However, focus on the message and the content first. What are you communicating, and what is the goal or purpose of that video?
Yeah, well, because we're lazy. Like we
Yeah.
won the song, we won the hashtag. Yeah, well, that's a trend.
Yeah.
We see a
You
video
know,
on TikTok. Oh, like people have not been using the song. It's going viral. These people seeing, views.
yes, that's very misleading. Yeah. So I see that a lot all the time. People say, use this sound and you'll go viral. And then their
Yeah.
video's going really well because people fall for that type of thing. And it's like, no, if that's what made you go viral, like everybody using that song would go viral. It's your content and how it resonates with people. What are you communicating? Is it entertain? How does it make people feel? Are you telling a story that's engaging them? Is it entertaining, or is it really, really valuable? Is it, solving a problem? All those things, right? That's more important.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, these people are going viral. I mean,
Mhm.
providing hope, maybe false hope, right, to people that they will go viral too.
Yes, but at the end of the day, that's just it's a vanity metric, right? It's what's the point of doing that if you're running a business and you're not building trust or generating
Yeah.
leads or making sales, all that type of stuff. So it's there's a lot of those vanity metrics that are just not important.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot, some people, I'm sure they're just, doing that, for example, because there's no value. Use this sound and you're going to go viral, and individual has, let's say, 300,000 plus,
Hmm.
followers, and they have, millions of likes, but they have no brand, no product, nothing. And they're just,
Yeah.
when they meet people in a social environment, they're like, I have 300,000. Wow, you must be a star, right? And all you do is like use the sound, right? So,
Yeah.
which is, for some people, that's all it is. That's the entire strategy. Like they don't want to have any business, nothing. And, some of
And
these accounts,
that's
they're
fine
years
if you
big.
want to just do it for fun and spend your time as a content creator.
Yeah,
However, we're on a marketing podcast
exactly.
and we're speaking to business owners, and people who want to get a return on the time spent creating content.
Right. So talking about the return and the time spent on TikTok, right? So besides monetizing, because I've been seeing and at some people commenting and writing articles about SEO and TikTok. So does
Hmm.
SEO and some of the content that are being produced does reflect on businesses' websites and traffic?
Absolutely. I'm very big on optimizing your videos for search and for getting ranked. So this is really important for business owners. Now, maybe not every video it's important. Like if I just kind of do a funny, silly video, I don't care about that ranking. But if I'm making content that is educational, then I'm definitely want to optimize for searchability. That's really, really powerful on TikTok right now. I can tell you, I look at my analytics and they have updated them recently, which is amazing. We can now see how much traffic we are getting from search, from people finding us through search.
Mm,
We can see where those people are coming from. It's insane. So it's pretty cool that they're giving us more of this data.
right. So how does someone optimize? I mean, that's a big word, optimize. How do you optimize?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's really 5 places that TikTok is pulling data from in your video content. So it's looking at what you are saying in the video, anything you're verbally saying. It's looking at the text on screen.
Mhm.
It's looking at any words in your caption space. It's looking at hashtags and any kind of closed captioning, which again is, the combination of text on screen and what you're saying. So you really want to the really, the most important thing for if you want to rank for CEO is, well, first of all, it's a good idea to know what people are kind of searching for. And then when you're making that content, think about a few keywords that you want to rank for. And so when you're making that video, you want to verbally say those keywords a few times. You want to have them in text on screen. You want to put them in the caption. You want to use it as a hashtag. That's going to help with the ranking.
Mhm. And does the length of the video also determines the, well, I'm going to use the word virality aspect of it, the SEO aspect, because for quite some time now, TikTok has the length, what's the maximum length? 3 minutes, right?
They're actually going up to 30 minutes. This is a new
30
feature they
minutes.
are testing. 30 minutes. Yes, that's very recently being released and being tested, which is a bit crazy. Right now, for most creators, you can upload up to 10 minutes and then you can create in the app up to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So TikTok is pushing and telling creators to make longer videos. Yes, they're kind of, want to compete with YouTube and increase their own ad revenue. So they are, let's say, favoring longer videos. However, not every single video you make needs to be a long video. People, start to think I'm just going to make a 2-minute video and just ramble on. Well, no, because what's the point of doing that? No one's going to watch you ramble on. You still have to be very strategic about it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be making. A lot of people are making 1-minute plus videos because they are monetizing through creator programs. I would recommend, if you are good at storytelling, and again, this is stuff that I teach in my membership, how to tell a story and different ways to do that. I would recommend 1 to 2 minutes, but again, not every video. Most of my videos, it kind of depends, right, on your account. I make my videos anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds usually. So it's not that you're making, just because you're making a short video, it won't make it go viral. Again, it comes back to the content and how people are resonating with it.
Right. Is there also a way to look at it? Because most of your content is again, you look at the trends and you just decide, I'm going to pick those particular videos and put my own spin on it, right? How much is it possible to create your own kind of trend? Again, I know that we're talking more about strategy when we're trying to go viral here, but for those people and companies that are interested to go viral, maybe they're Amazon type of company, not as big, but they're selling variety of different products and they're looking to go viral to target as many people as possible. How can someone identify and the potential trends or create a trend? I mean, do you see that amongst creators yourself? I mean, what's in that recipe of the videos that we see today and they're trending? Why do you think they're trending? What's
so definitely making any type of content that is relevant to what I call a hot topic. Something that is newsworthy, something that people are talking about in the news, and playing into that is going to help. Again, the hook, anything that makes people feel an emotion. So that could be a positive or a negative emotion. If you're trying to sell something, I would think it's more of a positive emotion, but sometimes still people go for anger or for controvery. But if you're looking for some sort of viral formula, that's what I would say is kind of what's going to help. Yeah.
Right. So, and how much time, I mean, personally, I mean, you have 360,000 followers, right? So that's a big number. So how do you manage like your day-to-day kind of content creation? Do you spend a lot of time? I mean, just for people to mentally prep.
Yeah. I don't spend a lot of time on my content, and that's partially because I've been doing it for a few years and I'm pretty quick at making videos. Also, the style of content I make is what I call mostly talking head videos. Most of my content is talking head. So it's pretty quick to make those types of videos. And I usually have a clear idea of what I want to say. So I do script my videos so I can look at the language that I'm using and make sure that it's SEO optimized, that it's speaking to the person, that it's not about me. It's speaking to the person, it's speaking to the pain, that it's helping them either learn something, because I mostly make educational content. So you know, there is a little bit of a learning curve if people are brand new to the app and how to make content. And I do have a guide for that. I have, and maybe you can share that in the show notes, but it's 9 short form video formats that you can make in 10 minutes or less. So it's going to teach you some of the different styles of videos that that are popular on TikTok, and different ways that you can make that. You can also batch content. I will say, you know, people probably are wondering, because I get this question a lot, how often do you post? And again, you know, I say it depends on goals. If you're brand new on TikTok, I'd recommend every day. You know, and if you're trying to reach, you know, 1,000 followers to get a link in the bio, or you have specific goals, you probably want to you know, you want to post more. If you are just about, you know, brand maintenance or awareness, maybe you're posting less. It also can depend on the number of followers you have. The algorithm is very slow on TikTok. That's one thing people have to get used to. I see it all the time. People are like, I posted a video 20 minutes ago and it flopped. I'm like, you posted it 20 minutes ago.
Right. So
The
that's what
algorithm is the way that it shows content, it's just a very slow process. I always say I never judge my video performance before 7 days. It takes generally a week for views to grow. So it takes time. So you have to have a little bit of patience, and, you know, people will post a video and a couple, you know, hours later, they delete it because they think it's not doing well. Just post it and let it breathe, give it time to, you know, it's not an immediate thing on TikTok.
Yes, because that was my following question. I wanted to ask you exactly that. People being impatient, you know, they don't see videos going viral, and for some cases, a lot of people being stuck, like, you know, I see that 200 views, whatever
Yes.
that's happening because of algorithm, right? And maybe
Yeah.
there's things that you're talking about are not being done right. So again, they don't have a script in the first place, because that's already going, you know, that's already flying over people's heads. Like, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
it's just too
You
much.
know, and the reason why the algorithm is slow is because they are moderating content. We are in an election year. There are wars going around.
Yeah.
They don't want things to go out and become so viral so quick, right? So they've like slowed it down so they can kind of moderate and manage what people are posting on the platform. So you have to take that into consideration.
Interesting, interesting. What do you think about people, you know, panicking? Some of those people are panicking, and again, you're based in the United States, so maybe you can speak about this more, because that was a huge issue. You know, there people were talking in front of the Senate. I think some of the representatives of TikTok were talking
Hmm.
about privacy policies, and you know, because obviously, you know, that's where you're talking politics. That's where politics comes in. I mean, TikTok
Yeah,
is a Chinese company, right? So,
yeah.
and again, how big of a of an issue is privacy and data with TikTok?
I think it is a big issue and a lot of concerns for people, and I'm sure it's going to be in the news more because of an election year. Um, you know, at the end of the day, if you're thinking about, you know, my account, is it safe? Is it going to disappear? You always have to remember these platforms are rented space. And
Yeah.
this is why I'm so big on list building on TikTok and using TikTok to build your email list, so that you can collect your own data and can collect your own emails and get into other people's inboxes. Because yeah, you never know where the platform's going to go.
Wow. So that it could be just a temporary stop. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, there were brands out there that is just like, oh my God, this is going to be. I don't know what Snapchat is doing, but at some point Snapchat was huge. Obviously, then TikTok got
Hmm.
introduced, and there's Reels and Shorts and Facebook. So you know, things being disrupted. I mean, it's social media. It's moving so fast, and something's new coming up.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
so interesting, interesting. So what you're saying is there particular reasons why an account can be deleted? I mean, is TikTok like, how do you violate TikTok like terms?
Well, they do have community guidelines. I highly recommend you read them before getting on the app, because you know you want to be sure that you follow all guidelines. However, they are fairly similar to other social media platforms. Um, so, you know, I just definitely want to look at those.
Right, What would you say, Abin, besides because 10-minute or 30-minute video, that just sounds like ridiculous. And of course, I understand what you're describing, that they want to compete with YouTube. I mean, YouTube now, conquered the video space. I mean, I remember
Mm-hmm.
people talking about Vimeo, and I see Vimeo is trying to do something still, and there's companies that still do okay, but YouTube is just like the monopoly, right? They just monopolize the space,
Yeah.
um, and obviously other brands want to catch up. What other trends do you think do you see coming up, if you see as a creator, because you're part of the creator community, which is kind of more private niche, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I think, yeah, go
no, go
ahead.
ahead.
I think, YouTube's going to continue to dominate long form. Uh, TikTok, I think it's going to be very hard to encourage creators to make videos that long.
Yeah.
And people go there for short bites of information and entertainment, right? They're scrolling. That's the habit that they're used to. So it will be interesting to see if people start making longer than 10-minute videos on the platform. I think it's going to be pretty tough. People like I said, people like to watch the shorter videos. And it's not, the trends are such a big part of the culture as well. That's not going to go away. So the trends are always typically very short videos, 5 to 8 seconds. So I think, not to get hung up to, on the longer videos, but make a variety of content, right? I'm always about making a variety of content. You want to make content, for that top of the funnel, more visibility, that's, either big picture or playing into the trends for visibility. Then you want to make content at the middle of the funnel that builds trust and connection and educates and nurtures. And then of course you want to make promotional content that's going to help for your freebies or your offers or services at the bottom of the funnel. So you should be making a mix of content, not just one certain style.
Mm. Yeah, so I mean, it definitely, there's an opportunity there. I mean, with TikTok, I mean that's a fact. You're talking about SEO, and again, for businesses to rank more through traffic, build the email list. At the end of the day, I mean, it's not all roses. It's definitely a good side to be explored. But talking about the media, because I like to also go into murky waters with people, and some people, I don't know how you can say wave whatever if you want to answer a question. Okay, that it'll be interesting to see a perspective, because social media has different two sides. One side is the benefits that we see, again, likes, dopamine, right? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
leads, business, do more, revenue, scale, grow. That's nice. That's very nice, and that's convenient. Um, the other side, which is we're talking about the social dilemma, right? The movie,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah,
documentary.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's definitely shaping society in a way. In some ways,
Oh, for sure.
it's like, oof, it's gonna be a rough ride
Yeah,
for next generation. Well, it feels like it, to some degree.
yeah.
It's shaping people's minds and perception in a way that sometimes is, because you're already seeing with the TikTok in particular. While we're talking about the
Mm-hmm.
platform, that it's been openly talked about that in China, where TikTok is based, they're showing on their viral, on what's trending. They're showing educational videos, something that
Mm-hmm.
teaches young generation positive message. Do more, do this, whatever it is. If it's Europe, US, you're gonna see it's just not some cases, right? And that's what's trending, because that's a modern warfare, right? In some
Mm-hmm.
case. So how do you see social media, like TikTok, or medias in general, shaping the future of society?
Yeah. So, yes, of course, there's a toxic element to social media and to TikTok. And this is why you have to be very mindful of being a mindful consumer of content if you are consuming. And
So that's a
we saw
time
this,
putting a
we saw this.
putting a time limit on it, like tracking your time. How much time do you spend? Like
You
how?
could do that, but I'm also talking about just being more mindful of the information that you are being presented, right? Because anyone on social media can say anything, and a lot of times they are doing that for their own personal gain. So being more skeptical, I guess, of, information, which we saw during the pandemic, there was a big movement, to be mindful of like where you're getting verified information from. And I think that can be true for like all the content you're watching, and thinking about why, are people, I think it's more important for people to back up the information that they're sharing with verified sources. We might see more of that. But I don't know. I feel like I
No,
lost my train of thought
no, no,
again.
no.
We're
So,
getting
so
off topic.
wait, how would you say? I mean, because it sounds like, it's very easy for us to say, okay, you have to make sure that you're getting legit information. So without doing a thorough research and due diligence, making sure that, you check all the points and information is legit when the individual is talking about whatever their information is, how you can create a frame of reference, for instance, right? That you can look at those few seconds that you have and make
Mhm.
somewhat educated, or at least gut feeling that, okay, this seems like a bunch of nonsense.
Well, for example, when I'm sharing TikTok information, I will always back it up with screenshots of where I found that information. So, people know that it's not just stuff I'm making up off the top of my head, because I do see a lot of that, and a lot of, social media coaches and gurus who just say wild and crazy things to
Right.
get more views and to get attention. So, that's what I mean by at least, being a little bit more transparent in that way. Now a lot of the like content that is made on TikTok is like a very opinion based. There's a lot of people sharing opinions, and I can kind of tell. I think it's just a general awareness of noticing things. Like I can kind of tell if I'm scrolling on TikTok and I'm like, it's feeling really negative. Like a lot of people just saying negative things. Is this just my feed? Is this just what I'm watching? There's things you can reset the algorithm. There's settings in TikTok for that, but that's when I might take a step back and be like, okay, what's going on here? And what am I seeing across the platform? And I might go look from different accounts and see different For You pages, and talk to people and say what's going on. But yeah, so I think, overall, yeah, social media is changing. You have to approach it being really mindful when you are consuming content. And I prefer to, consume content in short bursts. I'm very mindful if I just start picking up my phone and start scrolling for no reason, type of thing. So that's just the way I approach it and deal with it. Yeah, but it's definitely shaping our future. And, I'm not sure if they're teaching children in school about mindful content consuming and what we're seeing online and how to approach social media, because I know it's negatively affecting younger generations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, it definitely comes that, it should be, we all should be taught. But again, I think that's experience, when you get that gut feeling, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just experience, like looking at this and it's like, oh, okay, I have the feeling like it's just not good, which I think, there's no way around it. There is no shortcut, it's just life. You're gonna, and part of it is learning from that, from those mistakes, from the experiences, negative, right? And positive. So, it has to be some of that, but definitely, if there could be, and maybe at some point we're going to see in schools, like teaching, just the whatever, the how do you spot and just like get a sense, and just like socially,
Mhm.
because that's we're going towards that direction. I mean, social media will not go away. If TikTok is going to go away, something
No.
else new will come up. There's
Yeah.
going to be
Mm,
Woodok, whatever. It's going to be
yeah, it's not, for sure, it's not going away. Yeah.
no.
It's
So
just going to continue to evolve.
new platform, we're just going to move to that. We're going to now go from zero to building million followers again. It's going to be easier. You're going
Mhm.
to go viral more. It's going to be a different strategy, different tools to use, whatever, right? So while we're on a wave, we just riding it, and it's just, because there's definitely a potential. I mean, it's not all negative, and obviously you do that, the way it should be done, right? You really spend the time how to leverage the platform while it's still here. And of course, probably it's going to be
Mhm.
3 years, right? But how to leverage the platform to do business, right? Because,
Yes, exactly.
which, as I said before, for real estate, professionals, like they look
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is just ridiculous. So there's great potential.
There is a lot of potential in TikTok. There's always people going viral. That's not going to go away either. That is, one of the foundations of the app is to allow people that opportunity for virality. So there's always going to be potential on TikTok.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, guys. So make sure to catch the wave. Catch the wave on TikTok and
Yes.
catch the wave herself also on TikTok and on LinkedIn. I mean, she's all over the place. You can go and check her website. All of it is going to be included in the show notes, whether you're watching or listening to the episode. Very interesting. Some of the takeaways and things that you mentioned today, Wave, is very practical, easy, but again, it's not easy. Because I'm sure there's a lot of details that go in it, and you have to really,
Yes.
practice. So that's where a learning curve goes, right? But again, you're here, you provide that as a service. Again, so if anybody's listening and you would like to go viral, do more business on TikTok, here you go. Wave is your person to go and reach out. So make sure to do that. But Wave, again, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming today on the show, to providing these tips, strategies, your point of view of where TikTok is, what's going to happen. I mean, there's AI topics and everything. I mean, there's a lot, right? And we're also going to see you on Serious Marketing event this year, also in June.
Yes.
It's going to be a very exciting time for anybody who's interested to explore more about the event. You're going to find the link in the show notes too. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Look, a pleasure always being here, talking with cool people like yourself, Wave. I appreciate your time. And I
Thank
look forward
you.
to catching up sometime in the near future.